Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, Trey.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning in US, Texas?
It's
Is
doing
that
good. I
right?
got up early,
Yeah.
9 o'clock, had some coffee, and I am ready to rock and roll.
That's great. So, guys, please tell us where are you from and how hot is where are you from?
Yeah,
Where are you right now? Because in Texas, you're expecting more or less.
yeah, it's
What did you?
I'm in Dallas, Texas, and it feels like the summer's coming to an end. So it's actually not bad. It's 71 degrees right now. So I actually think it's cooler
Seven.
here than it is in Poland. So we have that going for us, but it could change at any minute. It might be 100 degrees this afternoon. You just got to buckle up and wait. That's the joke in Texas. Weather,
Yeah,
you don't like the
I
weather?
can.
Wait a minute.
I've never been there, but I just heard about, this temperature. So, yeah, fingers crossed today we get some, I would say, maybe cold uh, in terms of just asking the questions and your answers, Trey, of course. So, guys, please tell us where are you from? And I have one question to you, Trey, because I'm really curious, and I asked ChatGPT about that. Uh, Funny facts about Trey Gibson.
Hmm.
Could you tell me, please? At
A,
least one.
a fun fact. Okay.
Hmm.
Let me think about that.
The funniest ever.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a fun fact. A random fact though is I'm related to a old movie star from the
Okay.
U.S. Named Roy Rogers. So he was a cowboy movie star, and his wife Del Evans was first cousins with my grandma, and so we went to some family reunions growing up with him. So you probably never heard of him in Poland, but here in the U.S., all of our parents were big fans of his back in the day.
So later on, I will tell you what ChatGPT told me about Trey Gibson in
All good,
terms
I'm
of funny
sure.
facts. So, a few words. Trey Gibson founded SPOTIO in 2014, which is 10 years already.
That's right.
And SPOTIO is from early beginning in Poland, in Gdańsk, actually, where I live right now. And I'm sure you will talk about it. You will tell us how it actually started, how it happened, what happened in the beginning, because you are here from the early start. To help field sales teams drive revenue growth by increasing rep productivity and giving managers visibility in the field that they've been missing. And my question, Trey, because funny fact about you is that uh, sales subject was in your family. Actually, you started to as a salesperson, and you actually, as a child, you were in this field from early beginning. So, could you tell us early start regarding this field, which is
Yeah,
sales?
yeah, that is so. It's funny. Spotio is a software for field sales teams, and I actually started my field sales career at 10 years old. I
Oh
wanted
my God.
to go out and buy a dirt bike, and my parents were like, "Well, you need to figure out a way to get the money." So my mom had this homemade bread recipe that everyone loved. Sourdough bread was fantastic. And I said, well, how about I'll make some of this bread and I'll go sell it to the neighbors. So I did, made the bread, and she helped me, and we would go knock on doors, sell it to the neighbors, $2 a loaf or something like that. And I ended up making enough money to buy a dirt bike when I was, I think, 11 years old. And so that was my first foray into entrepreneurship and field sales and hustling out there. And it kind of never stopped from there.
Okay, great. Thank you. So briefly about me, I'm an IT headhunter, first choice in Poland, crazy about branding in terms of personal branding and corporate branding. So that's me. And Trey, definitely we have not enough time to talk about all topics. So please, I will be like keeping timing. I will be like
Sure.
a timekeeper here. So the first question is about you being as a CEO, which is not really easy. So the question is the reality of being a CEO. So could you tell us the truth, please? How is
The truth about what it's like to be a CEO.
yeah, please.
Well, it's challenging. I think it's something that I've had to learn to do over the years as the business changes. What I need to do to be CEO changes. In the early days of SPOTIO, it was just about getting stuff done. How fast can I move? How many things can I get done a day? How late can I stay up and early can I wake up to keep working? And as the company's grown, it's more about the future. It's more about the vision. It's about creating a culture, hiring people, and building an environment where they can thrive in. So I think first and foremost, as a CEO, we need to evolve, especially if you're growing a company. There's an evolution and there's a learning process. And some of that comes from seeking it out on my own. Where do I feel I can grow? And other part is asking those around me and mentors, where I could improve. So I'd say it's definitely an evolution, and I'm always working at it still. I read books and go to classes and always challenge myself to improve.
Okay, but can you be born to be a CEO? Of course, I'm asking about like terms and conditions of being born CEO, something like that, because you told me you were 10 years old and you started to sell, lovely bread of your mom. Your mom made it. So what do you think? Is it something like we can be born to be a great CEO?
I think I was born to be an entrepreneur, and that's different than a CEO. I think I was born to be an entrepreneur, which is why I started at an early age, but I've had to learn to be a CEO. And like I said earlier, it's still a learning process. It's funny, like when I created my first business cards for SPOTIO, I didn't put CEO on there. It's like, how can you be CEO of like a 1 or 2 person company? That I'm a founder, or I'm a janitor, or whatever. I was everything at that point. I think you grow into being a CEO as the company grows. So no, I don't think you're necessarily born. I think anybody can grow into it if you're open to learning.
Okay, but you told me about about few things like learning path, or you have to learn all the time. You need mentors. But the most challenging thing about being a CEO, 1 or 2, maximum 3, could you tell us, please?
I think early on, and I've thought about this quite a bit over the years. Early on, and some still, it's the most challenging aspect is reconciling the expectations I have for myself, which are very, very high as the founder and CEO, from getting to the office at 4 a.m. sometimes and staying there 8, 9 at night, sacrificing vacations, sacrificing social life, whatever it took, to win, and reconciling my expectations for myself for what I should have for others, that come and work with me. And so just understanding that, I might have higher expectations for myself than it's fair to have for others. Mm-hmm. And then as you go along, it's about the challenging is just creating a culture where it's one of transparency and motivation, and an environment where the type of people that you want to work with can thrive and make an impact. And that was one of my driving forces behind creating SPOTIO, was just being able to establish a culture. And it's been kind of a focus from day one. Growth is great. I love growing a company. I love hitting revenue numbers. I love winning growth awards and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is like that I really enjoy the people I work with and what I'm doing. And to do that, you have to have a good culture.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to ask you about your approach to company culture. I have a question like that, but Józef is with us, and Martin Kwiatkowski. Hello, Martin. And Józef has a question. As the CEO of the company, are you able to maintain a balance between your personal life and work? How do you manage it, Trey?
Yeah,
Thank you.
The whole work-life balance thing, like to me, I don't think of it that way. I'm always on. If I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming about work when I wake up in the middle of the night. So I'd say now I have more of a I'm married with kids and have responsibilities outside of work. So there is some sort of a balance, but I don't think of it like that. I enjoy what I do. I want to win. I want to keep growing. I want to build a great company. And to do that, I believe it takes a lot of effort. So for me, I don't really worry about it that much.
Okay, but ChatGPT told me that Trey Gibson is a sport enthusiast.
I like
So,
sports. I play fantasy
enthusiast.
football. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
I,
about football. Yeah, definitely basketball and football. So, what do you think? Is sport like doing something, being active, is it helpful in terms of
absolutely.
work-life balance or things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always been a proponent of physical activity. Working out in the morning, jogging. I'm actually, going on a backpacking trip next weekend. We're going to Yosemite Park and going off the grid. This was one of those things I changed 2 years ago. I guess this is a good, work-life balance topic. Is I sit in front of a computer for 10 to 12, sometimes 15 hours a day, and part of I wanted to get off the grid, and so me and a group of friends, we go backpacking. You're completely off the grid for 3 to 4 days. No phones. They don't work. You just hike. You just walk. You put on the backpack. You walk. You sleep in a tent. You drink water from the river, and it's like fantastic. When you get back from that, you're completely refreshed and ready to go at it. So yeah.
But you told us already. You dream about SPOTIO all the time.
Of course. Well, when I'm there, I have my notebook to write down ideas.
Great. Hello, Dominic. Dominic is with us. Happy to see you. Okay, so last topic regarding being a CEO. So should a CEO build a personal brand? Because I can see already, and it is not like your something common that you are building your personal brand. And I'm very curious, is it something normal, usual in US? Because I would like to say a few words about Poland.
Really good question. And so I'm not the type that I thrive or I strive to be like in the limelight or a public figure. It's not something that like I'm motivated by. However, in today's day and age, and you've probably noticed from the more content I'm posting on LinkedIn now, is I do believe a business needs to be a thought leader in its space, a business. And if that's going to be the case, then somebody at the business needs to be the one driving that. And because I've done field sales starting at 10 years old all the way through my first couple of businesses, I've managed field sales teams, both B2B, B2C. I have a pretty good idea of what it's like to do that job. And now having worked with thousands of companies doing field sales, I have an opinion on that. And so because of that, and because of the need for a business to be a thought leader and build trust, I decided that I would step up and do that. If you call it building a personal brand or being a thought leader, whatever we want to call it, yeah, I do believe a business needs that. And whether a CEO should do that or not, I think that's up to the person and their personality if they're up for it, and if they have a unique perspective on their area. So yeah, I think that's in short. I think so.
As I told you already, I think for us Polish people, I'm talking about, of course, founders, CEOs. It's not that obvious, It is like it is something about, because when you build your personal brand as a founder, as a CEO, you tell the audience about your values, about being you as a human, yeah. So I'm just thinking that it is great that you as an example for all people, for all CEOs. It is, I think, actually no questions. I totally agree. So Angela is with us, and Gopal. Nice to meet you guys. Happy to see you. Another topic, another subject, huge subject, navigating the early stages of the businesses, startups. And I would like to ask you, Trey, about the early beginning, the idea, the sparkle of SPOTIO. Could you tell us the story, please? Because I know the story. And as I said in my post, it is at least a movie for Netflix productions or something like that. So could you tell us, please? Because
yeah, well, I could take up our whole time telling the story, so I'll try to shorten it down. But I did field sales. Like I said, I did field sales, both B2B and B2C, and I managed field sales teams and was partner in a company that had a large field sales team. And we just needed a better way to get our team productive, manage territories, and and drive revenue growth. And they went and looked for a product out there that could do it. There was one, and we got a proposal for them, and I thought the amount was ridiculous. Something like 37 grand, and we had 200 or 300 people at the time. In retrospect, it was a very reasonable price. I thought it was absurd. I said, I can build a software for cheaper than that. Famous last words for anybody that has no idea what they're doing technically. You can't build a software for that. But I found out the hard way, and fast forward, all these years, and here we were. So I think, to sum it up, it was a problem I experienced myself. I lived it, and it was near and dear to my heart, and knew that it was a problem for others. And so it just made sense. I think the best businesses come from solving your own problem, just because you're up close and personal with it and very passionate about it.
Yeah. So your advice for people in terms of how did you secure your initial funding, and what advice do you have for raising capital? How was it at SPOTIO?
So I was fortunate enough that me and my partners from the home improvement company were able to put up the initial funding. Now, that was not a ton of money, but it was enough to get us started. And then, what I did is just cut all expenses in my personal life. I was recently married, kid on the way, but things like selling your car, like selling off possessions, whatever it took, getting it down to where you can live off of as little as possible. And then also the other thing that I was focused on, with my background being in construction, is I'm very familiar with cash flow, and profit, things that in the software world up until recently weren't all that cool. But from the very beginning of SPOTIO, I was very focused on creating a sustainable business. And you do that by building a profitable one that can cash flow itself. And so from day one, I was very focused on that. And so fundraising, after that initial phase, after we got some initial revenue, it wasn't something that I needed. Matter of fact, when we did our Series A, we didn't really need the money. It's a great position to be in. And all the other startups that I've advised, or the founders I've talked to over the years, I always tell them, focus on building a sustainable business, and then the money will come. It's funny, when you don't need money, investors are more than happy to give it to you. When you do need money, it's a little bit more challenging, especially in today's environment, where it's even harder to raise funds than it was a few years ago. And so I think building a sustainable business should be the number one focus.
Yeah, but that's for sure. You just you faced the biggest challenges when we talk about early stage of SPOTIO. Could you tell us what was that?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm a sales guy, and so I have no idea on the technology side. And so finding technical help was actually very challenging. There's several instances of where, I went to meetups and things here in Dallas, and tried to get someone to be a co-founder or something like that very early on. And everyone thought that whether the idea was dumb or whatever it was, that nobody would come and join with me. And so I had to go and figure out a way to build it kind of on my own. And it was very painful at the time. I mean, I can do a lot of people's jobs from, on the sales side, marketing, some of the other things around here. But I can't do anything technical. I can't code I can do a couple fancy Excel formulas, and that's about the extent of it. And so anything technical I can't do. And so that was really, really challenging in the early stages.
Can I say that? Who helped you the most? Polish people?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's all I could go. Like we had to pay to get the product made 3 or 4 times, and that's how I ended up meeting my Polish team, and then the rest is history. And that was all those years ago, and that's why I'm very passionate about our team in Poland, and why I'm more than happy to have this conversation, because it's been a fantastic experience for me. With the people that we have there, and really everyone I've met in Poland. I love going over there. I love the culture, everything about it.
But it is something probably which you don't like. You tell me later. Okay. But Trey, funny story, because you know that I talk mostly with tech people, yeah? And when they start their businesses, it is always like, oh my God, Aga, I don't know. I'm not good in sales, in marketing. Yeah. So they have the same problems. They have the same challenges, but on the other way. So sales people are really important too from the early beginning. Is that right, Trey?
Yeah. I mean, I remember early on in SPOTIO, we were selling a product that really didn't even work. I mean, it kind of worked, but it had bugs, and we didn't have a QA team back then. And, I think, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, you got to sell something first. Nothing happens until something is sold. And so in my opinion, getting sales and generating interest and demand early on is extremely important. If you can do that, then you can, like we did, we can fix the product along the way. If we get sales and we get early customers, and we can get them bought into our vision for what the product can be, they'll come along with you on that ride.
The biggest mistake from when we talk about early stages?
Yeah, the biggest mistake. So like I mentioned many times, I'm a sales guy. And so selling SPOTIO came very easy for me. We had leads coming in, and boy, we were setting them up and knocking them down. And I come from like the construction background. Let's say I sell you a roof. I sell you a roof, I'll see you in 20 years, right? There is no like customer retention. I'm not too worried about it, right? We do a great job, we install it, there's no leaks, you're happy, maybe you're first to someone. In software, it's different. We were selling you, and it was a month-to-month deal. We did no training, no onboarding. You signed the agreement. Congratulations, here's your login to the software, shake hands, and we'll see you later. And then customers started canceling. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I learned the hard way that retention is very important. And even with dealing with field sales teams, it's even harder. Imagine we get a software for field sellers, and they just get access and they go out and try to do their job. And we have to really train them. And so over the years, we've invested very heavily in that customer experience and the retention side of things. So I'd say if I could do it all over again from day one, it would be as focused on that customer retention as I was on the sales side.
You probably now you remember this feeling, this emotions. Horrible, isn't it? From the early beginning. Oh my God. Yeah, but ChatGPT told me that Trey Gibson from SPOTIO is really focused on efficiency. And another topic is scaling the business. Could you tell us, please, Trey, the best strategies in terms of scaling the business, please?
So we were fortunate early on when we got the app created, put it in the App Store, and did some App Store optimization, some press releases, some kind of basic stuff, and we started getting a lot of downloads. And so when we got the downloads, I would require email. This was back when you could require a cell phone. I think Apple's changed their policy, but we could require a cell phone to register for a free trial. And I just called every single person. Every single person I called them and said, would you buy this? What's your problems you facing? Blah, blah, blah. And so I started to understand there's a really big problem in the market. And that's when I felt confident that there's a place for something like SPOTIO. Shortly thereafter, it was all the rage. This is like, HubSpot came out with their inbound university, and all the content marketing was kind of in its early stages. And so I invested pretty heavily in creating content. Back then it was blogs, right? That was a pre-chat GPT, before you could spin up an article in 30 seconds, right? You had to actually write it, and it was challenging. And so there's a barrier of entry. And so we didn't really have a strategy. It was just like, let's create some content. Let's create good content. Let's put it out there. And our website started to rank. And then I learned more about SEO. And so I think early on, we've always been focused on thought leadership and creating really good content. It's one of those things that's just paid off over the years, because we've built up such a backlog of amazing content that provides value to our customers in the market. And we've been rewarded with continuing to get inbound leads because of that.
Okay. Another question is quite silly, I would say. So I would like to ask this question, but in another way.
Okay.
The question is, why people like working with you?
I don't know if they like working with me. You have to ask.
But at least the retention is very low. So they stay with you. They stay at SPOTIO. I know Polish team. I work with you guys 2 years already. So the recruitment is it's not that case, because they don't leave you guys.
Okay,
so,
maybe they like working at SPOTIO, but maybe not with me. I don't know. No, I'm joking. I think it's being very deliberate. Here's the thing. Every single company has a culture, whether you acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
There might be a known culture, there might be an unknown culture. And so what we choose to do is be very deliberate about that. And there's ways we can get into that. But I think the most important thing is the people that we have on our team and we purposefully recruit and hire, they want to make an impact. That's one word, impact. You don't come work at a company our size if you don't want to make an impact. If you want to hide behind somewhere and not work and like kind of, just meander along, you're not going to come work at a place like SPOTIO. You're going to come here. There's a big bright light shining on you, and certain people rise to the occasion during that. And those, they want to make an impact. The other is transparency. We're very transparent on things that are going good with the company and things that aren't going good. And so every Monday we have a stand-up that we share the good, the bad, the ugly. Every quarter we do the same, and then every year. And so we have a rhythm of transparency. So when you hire people that want to make an impact, they want to understand what's going on and how they are. Am I moving the company forward, or what can I do, to make an impact? And the third is collaboration. And I think collaboration can be taken different ways. The way our core value, Relationships Matter, talks about collaboration is it's for the purpose of accelerating success. Collaboration to me doesn't mean I come over to your desk and I bother you about how your weekend was. Sure, that's great, and that's good for building relationships, but that's not collaborating. There's a problem to solve, and we can collaborate, work together. I bring my skill set, you bring your skill set. We collaborate to solve that problem. We're going to solve it faster than we would otherwise. So I think those are kind of the things that we've been focused on, and our core values are built around, is that impact, transparency, and collaboration. And if you can hire the right people that's also their core value, then you can create good retention.
You can lose. But I'm really curious about this impact subject, and it is very popular in Poland. Yeah, we are looking for people who wants to have an impact and blah blah blah. But
sounds good.
Sounds good. But my question is, when you talk to Polish people and when you talk to people in US regarding hiring them, do they have different impact, or at least definition of impact is different?
That's a good question.
I'm really curious about that. That's because you talk with all of them, at the end of the recruitment process. So
I don't know if I have a well-formed opinion on that. I think the way that I explain impact to new team members is how I explained it to you, which is you want your work to make a difference, and you're willing to put forth the effort, to see that come through. And so
Okay.
I don't know, I think, yeah, there hasn't been any stark difference. Why? It sounds like you have you have a different. Do you think it's different, like the impact in Poland versus US?
At least how we say that. For example, as far as I know, when we talk about being like a really good leader, manager, CEO, when we talk about people from US, they are like, you know, that I love this the survey, the survey kind of. So we talk about you guys in terms of being influencing and dominant, which means it's yellow and red. And you talk differently. When we ask you the same question, because in Poland we have more people more focused on process, the quality of the process, and of course being focused on goal, but they are not that open, that talkative, whatever, like you are in US. So I think maybe I will ask you guys, Marcin, Dominic, Józef, could you tell us please, because I know that impact is really important to you, yeah, because you are very experienced, you have your knowledge, you have your age as well, so you are looking in a company, in the cooperation, something like being more useful, I would say, more heard probably. So could you tell us please, how is your definition? How do you know that the impact will be addressed in the company, inside the company, and stuff like that? That would be great. So company culture. Oh, I love it. Thank you very much for that. Because I totally agree. Company culture is always, but sometimes because this is like the air, we can't feel it. Yeah, we can't smell it, but we have people with values, with, you know, things like that. So definitely company culture exists, but sometimes we don't know that.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT told me that funny fact about Trey Gibson is workplace fun. At SPOTIO, Trey emphasizes a fun work environment. The team is known to engage in office pranks and creative activities to keep the atmosphere light and enjoyable. Is that right?
I think we have fun. Yeah, I think the way that I would like to, order it is like I want to win and then have fun. You know, I think if it's all just about having fun, you can lose focus of what we're doing here. And so, as a team, and you hear me call it a team, SPOTIO, we're a team. You know, the team, we want to win, and winning can look like different things, but we want to win. And then winning is fun. Winning with people that you love working with is fun. We're going to win, and then we have fun. You know, we just hit our Q2 goals, right? So we won, and then we went and celebrated as a team. We went bowling. We had a bowling competition. You know, we had food, we had drinks, and it was a wonderful evening together. And so, yeah, I do think fun is important, but I also want to win and accomplish big things, and then we're going to have fun after that.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the first day, the sparkle of that? I don't know, maybe Shireen, head of HR, was when she actually joined SPOTIO. I don't know, but do you remember your approach, or maybe the first steps in terms of building the company culture? Just to give some advices on the direction of that.
Absolutely. So I think early on, it was just understanding what the culture, what I wanted it to be like. But then when I really got it kind of on paper, is I worked with a business coach, and we followed a process called Scaling Up. It's just a book. It's like a kind of a framework. Now we use what's called EOS, but I actually use a hybrid entrepreneur's operating system, Scaling Up, and we kind of use a hybrid of that. But it helps you understand and like put down and how to determine your core values. And then from there, it's about repetition, and it's a lot of work. Like how many companies have core values and it's a stupid poster on the wall that nobody cares about, nobody talks about? I mean, it's my job as the CEO and leader to like make sure that everyone hears us talk about these core values, that they align with them, that my leaders are hiring, we're promoting, we're doing disciplinary action in accordance with our alignment to our core values. And so it's a lot of work, but I think it starts there. Like you have to actually list out what the culture should be at your company. And then what I do is every new person that we hire, I tell them, I talk to each one of them and I tell them I walk through what the culture should be like here at SPOTIO. And I say, I'm going to meet with you. This is on the first day that they're hired. I walk through a culture deck with them. I spend an hour going through what the culture should be like here at SPOTIO. And I say, I'm going to meet with you in 2 months. And I'm going to ask you is if the promise I made to you today is actually coming true. And if it's not, I expect you to tell me. I want to hear if the culture that I'm telling you we should have is not the one that you experience when you get here. And so every 60 days after someone starts, I meet with them and I ask them that question. Hey, did we live up to our promise? Is the culture that I described to you, is that what you're experiencing here? And sometimes I get yes, sometimes it's like, hey, here's an area of opportunity. I want to hear both the good and the not good.
Even I'm prepared today because I listed your core values. Make it great, know where we stand, solve for the customer, play to win, relationships matter. Is that correct?
That's right.
Great. We have a question from Martin. Oh my God, actually 3 questions. Thank you, Martin. Impact is actually questions. I mean, like, even our topics going wider. Impact is very important. We have to feel what we do and be able to have any influence on what I do. I would like to see meet users using the system. I would like to see meet users using the system. You mean, Martin, when you talk in the recruitment process? Yeah. Okay. Another one. I can agree with Aga words. We have to use process value to also something. This is how I see it. Thank you, Martin. Is someone who disagree, please? Following rules often leads to being predictable. However, sometimes breaking the rules to the job, but only short term, and when everything is in fire. Trey, could you please comment that?
I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but yeah, I have no problem breaking the rules. I think that's part of being moving fast and breaking things as a startup, and there's no sacred cows here at SPOTIO, right? Like everything can be challenged. I tell my team that if you have a differing opinion of me, I expect you to say it, and then we can.
And people say it, Trey, because it is in our culture. Yeah,
I think it's definitely more
to say that.
What's that?
We are actually like Polish people. It is of course in our culture. We very often are scared to say something, to just disagree with the boss, especially with the boss.
Yeah, that's one of the
people
things
say that.
We learned when we did the last year in Poland, when we did the cultural differences exercise.
Yeah, workshop.
That's one of the things that I learned, and it kind of made sense because, yeah, I think with not only the separation of we're in the US and they're in Poland, but we do have challenges getting our Polish team to speak up. But it's also a challenge for anyone. At any company, it's tough to speak up sometimes in a big group environment. Of course, we have people that are more than happy to give their opinion, and we accept that and like that. But also, I think on a one-on-one basis, if I can call someone in and hey, tell me what's going on here, like it's maybe a little bit easier to do it on a one-on-one basis sometimes. But it's one of those things I just repeat. I was like, if you have an opinion, you were brought on this team because we respect you. We believe you can make an impact, right? We believe in transparency. Therefore, part of that is also you giving feedback back to us. And that process is really important to not only improve as a company, but just make a good culture.
Mm-hmm. When you said speak up, definitely it links to me with another topic, networking and growth. Could you tell us, please, Trey? Is networking, the meeting people quite common in US? Do you do this kind of stuff when you are actually CEOs, founders, or whatever? Is that something normal in your culture?
It is, yeah.
Business
It's
culture?
very normal. I think early on in SPOTIO was challenging because I would go to the meetups and things, and I might have been the only company or CEO that had revenue, or a lot of people with ideas, a lot of people, thinking about doing something. I was one of the only ones that actually was doing it. But the ecosystem here in Dallas has evolved so much that now I have a good group of people I know in Dallas, groups I'm part of, both in Dallas and virtually, that I can lean on for questions and networking. That's in terms of like other people at the same stage I am. But then there's vendors. I love talking with vendors. I maintain relationships with vendors that we work with and those that we don't work with. And then also I have relationships with some competitors as well. I have no problem, having good relationships with competitors. And I'm one of the most competitive people in the world. But I like winning, but I also think it's important to have good competition, and I respect good competition.
Thank you, Dominic, for the question. Breaking rules. I think we will come back to this question when we talk about us Polish people. So thank you. Expanding in Poland. Why Poland can be a great choice for growing tech companies from your, of course, experience point of view, Trey?
Yeah, I think from my point of view, there's a few different reasons. Number one is just some great people. Maybe I just got lucky with the group we have, but just really hardworking. They're dedicated. They're committed. Like you said, many of team members in Poland have been there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and I think my experience is if we can put them in and, treat them right with respect, of course, good compensation, interesting work to work on, like they're very committed to the company. And sometimes we don't see that in the US as much as we do in Poland. There's not as much like job hopping around in Poland. Also just extremely like smart people. I don't know, again, maybe I just got lucky, but boy, the people that I've worked with in Poland are just extremely smart, from just an education technical perspective. And then there is some sort of a cost savings work, that we can leverage the dollar to different currencies. So there's a little bit of that. Not as much as it was 10 years ago, but still a little bit of that too.
Yeah, you said that you just met all the time, like still meeting clever, smart people. But I think your recruitment process at SPOTIO is really, really good prepared because of that. And you work with smart people.
I work with smart people like Aga.
Yeah. So we have few questions, but Dominic, breaking rules. I remember Martin, of course, but Josh. I have to show you that. Josh, hello, Josh. Josh just said Trey is a true American hero.
Thanks, Josh. I don't know about
hello,
that.
Josh. Trey, can you share a story about the early days of traveling to Poland to build culture between the teams? Do you have any favorite moments? Any favorite Polish vodkas? Yes, please. Thank you, Josh.
So the first time to Poland, Łukasz Gerlinski invited me to his sister's wedding. And I had never been to a Polish wedding. I've been to some good American weddings. I was not prepared for what was about to happen to me. We go to this is fantastic. So we go to the church, have the ceremony, we go to the reception, and we sit down at this long table, and in front of each chair, or in front of each plate is a bottle of vodka. And I'm thinking like, what's this for? Then the shots start, and I tell my wife, she came over there with me, I was like, look, Laura, we're going to be the last people standing at this wedding. There's no way that the American comes over here is the first one out. Well, this wedding goes on till 5 a.m. I'm talking everything from Elvis impersonator coming out on stage at 3 a.m. to musical chairs. I mean, it was the best party I've ever been to in my life. And then they say, well, the after party starts at 10. And this is at like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was like, what are you talking about? 10, like in a few hours? Like, yeah. So I was like, there's no way that there's going to be an after party. So we go to sleep and we wake up at like 11 and go downstairs thinking it's going to be empty. No. There's grandma's on the karaoke machine. There's, more vodka and beer. Anyway, it was
yes, it is like that still. I think still, but not that much. Probably not starting in a chair. But yes, that's our culture. Okay, Dominic. Yeah, Dominic, breaking rules. The question: how about this breaking rules and having own points of view? Who we have the most people from US or from Poland? Point of view.
Breaking rules. I don't know. I think I deal more with our US team on a day-to-day basis. So I just think I have a different perspective. I'm not there with the developers, making these decisions on a day-to-day basis. I don't have a real good opinion on that. From what I understand, though, is they have no problem speaking up and hashing it out and choosing, getting in there and, whether you call it arguing or discussing, whatever you call it, like they have no problem with that. So I think it just depends on the people you hire, right? There's going to be people that want to break rules and people that don't want to break rules in both cultures. So I do know that from the culture exercise we did is in Poland, there is more of like a respect for hierarchy. Like you said, Aga, there's, not challenging maybe the people above you as much as here in the US. And so that's something that I know we encourage. And, it's still a work in progress is increasing that communication back and forth.
I think it's changing like right now in Poland because new generation, like young people starting working with us, they're more like telling what they actually think, and that's definitely changing. Martin is asking, great front-end developer, Martin is asking you if you had to answer the question, what are the main differences between Polish and US developers?
Well, I wish I could tell you, Marcin, but I've never worked with a US developer. So
I knew it. Yeah, but maybe you heard something about them.
I think that, like what I said earlier,
they're more expensive.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think from my experience, like I said earlier, is in Poland they seem more committed to if I can provide a great environment, all the things that someone would expect for a good job, that this company will be rewarded with them staying with us, and that's been a really good experience. Is we have developers that have been with our company many years. They know the product very well. They know what we did before and they know what we did now. And so there's that knowledge built up. And so, yeah, I never had the privilege of working with the US developers, only in Poland.
Okay, so I have another question. I think it's easier. So what do you think about UX UI designers? Because Dominic is UX UI designer. Yeah, I'm joking. Quite similar question. It's quite similar answer. Dominic, quite similar answer. Okay, so thank you, Josh, because you just helped me to. You just asked the question. My another question is, what can surprise the most about Polish people? We know drinking vodka in a church. What else?
Yeah, this is going back early on in SPOTIO. I remember a time, and I might tell the story wrong, but I in the US, there's, it's very common to give encouragement, quite often, right? Hey, you did a great job on this project, or whatever, whatever it might be. There's constant encouragement. And I remember when I first started working, I think it was with Łukasz, and we did something, and I was like, hey, really good job. I appreciate, just what I would normally do here. Really good job. I really appreciate that. And it just got silent. That was kind of awkward, We sat there, and I was like, so what is something, what's something wrong? Yeah. And he's like, No, and in Poland, we only hear if we do a bad job. It's expected to do a good job.
Oh, I'm speechless.
That was so funny. Yeah. I don't know if that's still the case or not. This was 10 years ago.
I know, Trey. We still need to be better in it, to just taking to us as a gift a good things. I lived in London for 6 years, so for me it's something like I'm more open to that. But definitely, especially I would say even I men are more like encouraged, and I think they are more, and women are Polish women are like, oh no, come on, stop it. Oh, you have a lovely dress. Oh no, come on, it's old. It's old. Yeah, so it is quite similar to that. Okay, 9 minutes left. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
So in 9 minutes you're starting your job. I'm just finishing. So reflecting on 10 years of SPOTIO, 10 years of SPOTIO lessons learned. Please tell us, Trey, if you remember that.
Yeah, I have a couple bullet points here that I wrote down. So first is the chances of your startup becoming the next Facebook is pretty slim. So focus on building an actual business that is stable, that grows responsibly, and in a perfect world, cash flows. I know it's cool these days. It's back popular to build a responsible SaaS company now, but a few years ago when venture money was flowing freely, that wasn't the case. And I encourage other startup founders to just focus on building a business, and the rest can take care of itself. The other one is, and this is something we talked about too, is every company has a culture, whether you do anything about it or not. It's either spoken or unspoken. So choose to be deliberate about the culture you want and take steps to get there. Third is hire the absolute best people you can for the stage your company's at. You're going to hire different people when you first start out, and there's 2 or 3 of you, than you can when there's 60. But just hire the absolute best people you can for the stage that you're at. Another one is SaaS companies have a great value, right? They're very valuable companies, or they can be. And the reason for that is because of the recurring revenue stream, the predictability of that revenue. And so the more stable your revenue stream is, the more value your company will be. So focus early on customer retention. It's very important. And the other one, is just focus. I think early on in SPOTIO, we kind of were, I don't want to say trying to be everything to everyone, but we had a lot of companies coming to us inbound, right? Hey, I have a problem. Can you help me solve that problem? And it could be distracting, because they give feedback on the product, or, oh, maybe that's a good industry to go to. And I think as we've gotten bigger, we've actually narrowed our aperture down to focus on specific companies whose problem we can solve. And the last one is just don't overcomplicate things with a bunch of software. It's funny me saying that, selling software, but I remember 3-4 years into SPOTIO, we might have had 5 or 10 different technologies we're using for our sales, our marketing team, and all this stuff. And none of them were really set up properly. We didn't have a RevOps function back then, and it just kind of was confusing. And so, just kind of be, don't over leverage on different tools and softwares that you're going to buy, because it can just complicate things. So those are a few bullet points that I wrote down.
Great. It was great. Great story. Great. I would say, Trey, oh my God, I work with, as a recruitment partner, I work with founders, CEOs, tech leaders. And sometimes I feel you must be really, as just you're a hero, seriously, because it is a lot of expectations, a lot of playing with your personal life, with the family, friends, and with employees. They are not your family, but you wish them all the best, and you are on the top just to guarantee them nice life. So it is really hard. So Thank you for that, Trey. If you have any questions to Trey, please ask right now. And what I wish you at least another 10 years with the same energy.
I don't know about
health.
that. It's gonna be tough, but thank you.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And thank you for this story, because you said that salespeople are really important from the beginning, early beginning. So definitely, yes, the right people from the early beginning of your business is like not they don't guarantee the success, but at least less stress, I would say, or yeah, something like that. So Trey, definitely, I'm your big fan. You know that already. I always read your posts on LinkedIn, so please just add Trey to on LinkedIn, and definitely that's a great example of CEO building a personal brand. So have a lovely day. Thank you very much for that. It was my pleasure. It was first episode. It was first. Oh my God, I lost the word. But you know
English,
what was
English
that?
episode.
English episode in terms of IT personalities. So I'm really happy. Just let me know about another great companies, great funders, companies who are in Poland, because I think it is great to tell the rest of the world that we have great tech smart people and really helpful, important for tech businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you, Aga.
lovely day
You
and
as
see you
well.
soon.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Bye.
1 second. I just have a goodbye.